So I don't want to discount how. I just realized that my microphone was super far away from me, so hopefully that wasn't an issue. My God, we are all over the place with the stream today. So when it comes to cost per acquisition versus cost per lead, like I was saying, if you guys could even hardly hear me, cost per acquisition is by far going to be the most important factor in your business, because obviously how much it costs to gain a customer is going to determine how much you are able to make per customer from the top. If you don't know how much you're paying to get a customer, then you're already starting, I compare it to like quicksand, or not even quicksand, but compare it to, a foundation of a home. If you don't know how much you're paying to get a customer, that's like building a foundation with no type of blueprint, no type of plan, no, you're pouring concrete with no rebar, right? You're just building a horrible foundation. And then from there, you probably aren't tracking anything, to be honest. You're not keeping track of cost per chemical, cost per outreach, this and that and the other. And it just goes downhill from there. But cost per lead, what I was mentioning about cost per lead is it's very important to keep track of that as well, especially whenever you're, I would say, very new and the ad budget is very limited, because of course you don't have the money like some of the big companies or even more established companies that, have some excess cash each month to put, say, $100 per lead, $150 a lead, whatever the case may be for your industry. Of course, we're in the pest control industry specifically. I've had leads for as little as $5 to $15, depending on which platform I'm using for advertising. And then I've had some where it's been outrageous, like $150 to even as much as $250 per lead, that is. Per acquisition, we thankfully, when it comes to those higher end, high dollar leads, those tend to be very, very high in terms of success rate. I mean, we're talking like ridiculous, like 80 to 90%. And that's the thing. There's a fine line when it comes to paying attention to your cost per lead, which is why I say ultimately cost per acquisition is what you want to pay the most attention to when factoring where you want your ad budget to go in terms of allocation. Because if, say, for example, let's just say your average sale is $500 for the year, just standard general pest control, maybe general pest and rodent, some lower end, just cheap plan. We always want to play around with lower numbers whenever we're estimating, how much money you can make and this and that and the other. 500 is just a relatively low and easier number. For some people, maybe 400. For some people, maybe 700 or 800. But I think 500 is a good lower to middle ground for this discussion here. And again, I just want to check on our stream really quickly. Does say we have good connection, so hopefully that is the case. So like I said, we're going to assume that we're going to make $500, per year on a customer with our ad campaign. Now, let's say we're focusing on cost per lead, right? And let's say we're going with something that's a lower end, where let's say our cost per lead is $15. $15 is very low. $15 is what you'd be lucky to get early on with Google Local Services. I don't even know if that exists anymore. This is like 3 years ago when I first started my business. It was like $15 to $25 per lead. I don't know if that's the case for new companies now. I know for me on there, it's like $50 to $100 per lead. But let's say you're paying very low, $15, Facebook. There's some other ones out there, Thumbtack. You're paying, we'll just say $15 per lead. Very, very low cost, usually very, very low quality of lead on top of that. Let's say of these leads, you're only closing about 10% of them because, most of them are shit. So, for every 10, it's 10 leads. It's going to take you, $150 per that would now be your cost per acquisition. Now, let's say you have another campaign running on, I don't even know, let's just say Google Ads or even Google Local Services, for example. Let's say you're now paying $50 per lead, but of course, you're getting a higher quality lead, and let's just say your success rate is now 50%, which I would say is relatively average. Some will say 40%, some will say 60%. We can even say, let's just say 45% for an easy number. So let's just say, with that same amount, I guess 50% would be easier for calculation purposes at $50. That would give you a cost per acquisition of what? Let's just say 50, that'd be what, $100 essentially per lead. So you see how by keeping track of both of them in that example, right? Because we said 50%, that'd be, 2 leads, right? Out of every 2 leads, you're going to close 1 in that example. Let's just say even 40%, right? 40%, that'd be what, 4 out of 10, so 2 out of 5. So 5 times 50. What am I trying to do? So 5 leads, you're going to get 2. So yeah, that'd be around $125 per acquisition in that example. So you see there at closing around 40% of leads, obviously your success rate is going up in terms of percentages. That is actually not just saving you more money, but saving you more work. You're having to talk to let's see, the difference between 10 to 40% is 30%. So you're talking to at least 30% or no, 50%, because like we said, 40%, that would be 4 out of 10 calls, where you're going from 1 out of 10 calls on the 10% example to now 4 out of 10 are closing. So out of the same amount of work, you're getting 4x the result. You're getting 4 times the customers. They're probably willing to pay more on top of that, but that's a different subject for a different day. You're getting 4 times the customers for the same amount of work, or, you could reverse, do the math backwards, where you're doing now 40% less work to get the same result of that one ad. You're talking to, 6 less customers to get that one customer, if that makes sense. So you definitely want to keep track of this. Keep track of it. A lot of, if you get with some sort of either marketing agency or something like that, or simply install pixels like a Facebook pixel, things of that nature, a lot of it will be kind of built into the platform, where it'll tell you how much you're paying per lead, and then from there you can simply do the math. Hey, we've gotten this many leads come in from this, and we close 1. That's gonna make the math real easy, obviously. But say you close 3 and your cost was $350, and okay, we're paying around $112 or something, $115, I don't know, per acquisition. Definitely be keeping track of that, because that's going to help you determine, like we said, which platforms are working best for you, and you can prioritize your dollars. If you have a month where you're really squished, really tight, you can focus on, okay, Google is the best for us, let's stick with Google. Or Facebook is the best, let's go with Facebook. And then as the ad budget starts opening up, you can always either relaunch campaigns, launch new campaigns, try out different, variations of ads on different platforms. You can start just kind of going down the list, if that makes sense, and start getting a broader reach, getting more brand awareness, and of course, hopefully getting more customers as well out of that. So hopefully that kind of makes sense. I tried to go over just some quick and easy examples. Hopefully the stream did cooperate with me today. I know the previous stream I tried to run a few minutes before this one was kind of giving me a bunch of issues, but hopefully we got that all straightened out, and hopefully it is of good quality and good information for you guys. If you have any questions or anything to add, even, don't hesitate to drop a comment below after the stream goes from a live stream to a video. And like I said, we have another video that'll be going up for you guys probably before the end of the week, if not the weekend at the latest for you guys. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe below. Check out the links in the description, as they should be of great benefit for you. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. And like I always say, if you have any questions, drop them in the comments or join our free Discord or Facebook group. Otherwise, I will see you guys in the next one.